He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Climbs on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Moving the Chains. I'm Ashmere here with Jeff and Greg. We have made it to week 13. I have no idea where the time has gone. We're in December, and we're going to have a fun show today because I feel like as the season ends and comes to an end, we have much better games to watch, just like today. So, should we kick it off, or do you guys want to start with the Patriots first? Should we go
let's recap Thursday night.
Oh yeah, hit it.
Yeah. So Thursday night, of course, as you saw, the Cowboys were able to top the Seahawks. It was an impressive performance to me. I know people were saying, well, they snuck out of there. The refs stink. Okay, they've stunk all season long. Both teams had a double-digit penalties, so there was no favoring one side or the other. They were just equally bad both ways. But give credit to Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys for pulling that one out. Give credit to Geno Smith for getting out of that funk that Seattle offense was in and making that a game, because that could have easily gotten out of hand. But he came right out and fired right away at Dallas. This was a dogfight. It was a great game to watch. Yes, there was bad officiating. Every week, I guarantee you today, there's going to be bad officiating in every single game. That's just how it is. But definitely, you have to be impressed with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, the way they were able to pull through that game.
Well, gee, do you think I might agree? Yeah, the Cowboys did enough to get the job done against Seattle. Obviously, the defense was torched by DK Metcalf. But hey, Deron Bland still managed to come back and have another interception on his numbers. Oh, darn. Dallas basically is playing so well at home right now that it's not funny. It just isn't funny. And Dak was an MVP type candidate, which I wrote about. Deron and Dak this past week, both being up for the big awards. Stop looking at the helmet and look at what Dak Prescott is doing as the quarterback. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line to me. Even Aaron Rodgers on McAfee this week said Dak Prescott is playing the best quarterback in the league.
I was literally going to say that.
Yeah, like it's mind-boggling to me because of the hatred of the Cowboys that is out there, that everybody has this stupid standard for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a good football team. Are they going to win a Super Bowl? Obviously, I hope so. I would love that to come to an end. Do I see it happening this year? We'll see what happens. But, hey, they had enough in the tank to get the job done against Seattle.
So were you two expecting the score to be this high, to be so offense heavy?
I was.
Okay.
I didn't see Seattle scoring 35, but...
Yeah. I thought a nice 21, 24.
I had 28.
Yeah.
I think the beauty of this matchup was that both of these teams played on Thursday night, on Thanksgiving night. Then they turn around and play on Thursday night a week. So they still had the full week to prepare. Mm-hmm. And you saw that in Seattle's game plan. This was a fully prepared game plan. This was in a short week game plan. And they came out with a way to neutralize the pass rush of the Cowboys. Meanwhile, while attacking the DBs they wanted to attack. They went after Bland, and they even also went after the veteran on the opposite side in Gilmore. Okay, so they weren't afraid to attack the Cowboys' corners. And they did a great job of doing that by utilizing that quick game. All of the quick concepts they used were able to negate that pass rush getting to Geno Smith. Now, what Dallas was able to do later was add more pass rush. So they started taking more chances, blitzing, and coming at him with different looks where Geno didn't have a chance because of that pass rush to complete the throw. You saw the missed fourth down throws that he had were because of that increased pass rush. But the full week of preparation is what made this game what it was. Otherwise, if it was a short week like normal, I don't think we have that same kind of game plan from Seattle.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point.
And Geno, on that big play to Metcalf, Geno did enough to get Donovan Wilson to jump. And that's why Bland was so far behind DK Metcalf. I mean, he was just torched. Bottom line.
Yeah, DK was lighting it up. 3 touchdowns.
The fastest run, according to the league numbers there on GPS, the fastest run of the year was that DK Metcalf touchdown. So
honestly, I was happy for him because he needs to be utilized way more. So okay, beautiful game. The Cowboys fans are happy here. Now for today, I think the 3 games that we chose are definitely, there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. Let's kick it off with Texans and Broncos. So Russell Wilson is on a crazy new tear. He is literally killing the back end of the season. Last 4 games, he has 700 yards. He's just been lighting things up, cooking, as people would say. And we all know how we feel about the Texans here. CJ Stroud is amazing, but there's a lot of injuries covering this team right now. So no Dalton Schultz. I feel like that's a huge loss offensively. And then Tank with a little bit of injury. I think that's also an offensive person to keep an eye on. So I'm curious. I'm going to have Greg cover the Broncos since he picked them to win last week. Greg, how can the Broncos pull through this win? They're both looking for a little playoff spot here.
The Broncos have to do exactly what they have been doing to teams, and that's defending. Yes, that defense that gave up 70 points to the Dolphins has been defending much better. And that's the reason why Russell's been put in the position he's been put into to win these games. Everybody talks about the quarterback and all this other. No, guys, defenses actually help quarterbacks. They help quarterbacks because they get the other team off that field, and you get a defense that's coming back onto the field against you again, and all that other sort of stuff. To me, this game comes down not to Russ and his receivers, though. It comes down to the running backs that the Broncos have, and Javonte Williams and Samjin Perrine have been phenomenal for them lately. If they get loose, especially Perrine, I mean, he is such a monster to try and pull down in the fourth quarter. That'll be the key for the Broncos.
Okay, you got the fun team, I think. More injured team.
Well, they're both fun because both of these teams have been 2 of the hottest in the league, right? Well, if you're thinking about the Houston Texans right now, tough loss last week, but how do you rebound from a tough loss? Getting back on your winning ways. You got to rely on your young quarterback who's carried you through these wins this season. What you also want now is a little more support from the running game. You're a little banged up. You have some banged up receivers. Your quarterback, for the first time, didn't have the most overwhelming performance last week. But what you want to do is come back with that defense, get some opportunistic stops on this Denver offense, which is playing very well right now. But most importantly, now you're time where you want to support your running back. We get in December. Everybody says when you get to December, one thing you want to do is run the ball effectively and be consistent. Well, now's the time for Houston to turn on that running game. Right, go out there, be able to pound the football in early down situations. Don't make it where CJ Stroud has to come up with these big, impressive throws on third down all the time. Give your offensive coordinator more options. Okay, how do you do that? Run the ball effectively on first and second down. Okay, mix up it allows you to mix up your calls, get into those short third downs, or even stay out of third down altogether. But what you want to do is be able to get those long sustained drives, which will open up the opportunity for big plays. Okay, the more balanced your offense is, the more opportunities you have for big plays. That is one thing we always talk about as a coordinator, is being balanced. Well, what is being balanced? A lot of people say, well, is it equally running? No, it's equally threatening a defense with the run and the pass, not just one or the other. That's balance. So how do you do that? Even you may not have to run for 150 yards as a team. You may only need to run for 100, but if you're doing it effectively and making your defense respect it, it's going to allow you to play action. It's going to allow you to use formations to influence defenses and create more big plays down the field. Allow your quarterback to have a friend in the running game.
Who do you both believe is the most worrisome for these defenses to look out for on the opposing offense? So for Broncos to look out on Texans and vice versa.
Well, if you're the Texans, you can't let those two running backs get going. Okay, we know about Russell Wilson. We know about those receivers. But when Denver's running the football well, they're hard to stop offensively because that makes it easier on Russell Wilson to do all the things that he does. When they're struggling to run the football, it's a lot easier to get after Russell Wilson, right? And the same thing with C.J. Stroud. When C.J. Stroud is in rhythm and he's doing all that stuff, if they're running the football too, it's harder to get after him. But if they're struggling to run the football and they have to rely on C.J. Stroud throwing the ball 30 to 40 times a game, then you can start to get more opportunities for in a turnover, more opportunities for sacks to put them in long situations. Both of these teams need the running game. So if you want to take away C.J. Stroud, well, the best way to do that, take away their running game where he doesn't have to do as much. If you want to do the same thing with Russell Wilson, take away those two running backs so he has to do a lot more.
Yeah, I agree exactly with what you just said. Dameon Pierce has to show up for the Texans. It can't just be Singletary because Singletary is a solitude type of a running back. Pierce has that more flexibility to maneuver east-west before he goes north-south. That's the bottom line to me because the two Broncos running backs are just both bulls. They are strong, big boys. The Texans running backs need to also show up in the passing game because Tank Dell is hurt, Noah Brown is hurt, Dalton Schultz is out. So if C.J. Stroud is going to be effective through the air, he has to use his running backs today. So that's going to be the key to me.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. I like that, Greg. All right. Let's go on to our next matchup, Lions versus Saints. I was going to ask predictions, but obviously we'll wait till the end.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
At the rapid fire stage. All right, Lions and Saints. I think the Saints have been very disappointing. We can all agree. The easiest schedule, the NFL ranked it the easiest schedule for them, and they are not even a threat in their division. I'm very.
Thank you, Dennis Allen, you idiot. Oh.
Not so fast, my friend. We'll talk about that in a minute.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Take it away.
Well, they're still a threat in that division because nobody in that division has a winning record. Nobody's running away with the NFC South. They're not out of it, which is what makes them a threat in this game. Normally, you would look at this game and go, New Orleans is going to win. They're not playing well enough to beat the Lions. However, they have everything to play for. Right? We saw this last year with the NFC South. The Bucs took it with an 8-9 record. Okay. 8-9. Yeah, you could have another losing record taking the South again this year if nobody gets hot. Okay. Everybody, and I was going to talk about this on Bucs Weekly. All four teams are still, with the exception, three of the four teams, with the exception of Carolina, are in the race for this division, all with losing records. Atlanta, right, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay all have losing records and are all within 2 games of first place. Okay, nobody wants it. Whichever one ends up in first place winds up losing and giving it right back. So right now, this division's not dead in the water just yet. One of these teams is going to win it. It's the one that gets hottest at the end, unfortunately, or at least doesn't get coldest at the end. Is going to be the one left standing.
I just think if you have the same record as the Falcons and you're supposed to have like one of the better QBs in this division, it's not a threat to me. That's why I said it. That phrase.
Yeah, but who said Derek Carr was a great quarterback?
I've never said that. I've never said that.
Exactly. But no, people were certainly pumping up Derek Carr as this great answer at quarterback for the Saints, right?
Yes.
And that's been totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Derek Carr was exactly who we saw for 9 years playing for the Raiders.
Exactly.
He has not changed an iota.
Emoji, I would send it off.
Yeah, I listen. I think it's bigger than Derek Carr. I think it's bigger than Jameis Winston.
Yes.
I think when you look at it, we talked about it. You said Dennis Allen. Well, you throw Carmichael in there too, the offensive coordinator. Yeah. I have been unimpressed with the offensive performance by the Saints this season. It's part of the reason why they've lost games. You have a losing record because your offense is inconsistent. They don't utilize their playmakers enough down the field. They're inconsistent attacking down the field. This offense can go from anemic to boom or bust at any moment. This is a problem for this team. You got a better quarterback because you believe Jameis Winston and the guys you had, Taysom Hill and all the other guys, Andy Dalton, weren't good enough to challenge down the field. You got a guy to challenge down the field and you're throwing screens and checkdowns. This is not an effective offensive scheme. It is not an effective offensive coordinator. Your head coach is not a game manager when it comes to situations. There's a lot of bad coaching in New Orleans that's leading to what's left of a decent team being very bad right now.
Yeah, I was about to say your list is going on and on and on.
I can still go on. Yeah. Tom Landry used to say, you can learn a lot from a win, but you can write a book on a loss. Well, there's several novels coming out in New Orleans.
Oh, easily. Based off of this season alone. Yeah. All right, well, let's flip it to the Lions. I think that they have a much better chance of winning this game. I don't want to give away my rapid fire, but there you go. And I think that's just based off of Jared Goff's will to pull through. He just figures out how to win games, as the Eagles keep saying. So I think that tied with Amon St. Brown is like a match made in heaven, you know?
Oh, that's not the part of the Lions offense to talk about. It's Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is because the Saints rush defense is a slow rush defense. It is 26th in the league. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a field day against the Saints defense.
No, you just said it, Greg. The straw that stirs the drink is Jahmyr Gibbs. You're absolutely right. When they're running the ball effectively, the Detroit offense is off the charts. When they're struggling to run the football, it is a little more feast or famine, right? So when they're at the threat of the running game, they're doing a lot better. We've seen it the last couple of games where they struggled to run the football early. They've had to pull out some major performances at the end of the games to either win. Last week, they couldn't do it versus Green Bay on Thanksgiving Day. No. I think they do more than enough to beat New Orleans, but I'll hold my pick for later. But I think they're going to get more than enough offense this week to be able to do what they need to do versus New Orleans. Like I said, New Orleans doesn't attack you enough down the football field. Well, guess what? The Lions have a pass rush that can keep you from attacking down the football field. As long as the Detroit Lions don't go getting careless and allow certain playmakers like Chris Olave or Alvin Kamara to make big plays on them, I think they control the Saints offense. But right now, that's what you got to worry about. Don't let those two guys get off and make special plays. Then this offense looks like a juggernaut.
Well, Olave has some injury going on, so I think a lot of teams are relying on the run game at this part of the season. I think
everybody's hurt.
Made very valid points on that.
But this is the NFL every single season, and it's why I go so bananas over everybody always staying the quarterback. Mm-hmm. No. In December football, you have to run the damn football. Bottom line.
No, it's true. I mean, we're littered with injuries, right? In every single team, there's a wide receiver with a hamstring injury, a tight end with a quad injury, or so on and so forth. So that's where you're stellar. I mean, I love the Jahmyr Gibbs point. I don't know why I brought up Amon. I'm just imagining.
Amon-Ra's having a great year, but it's a lot easier.
He's also going to be facing Mr. Lattimore and Paulson Adebo, who tend to pick off passes.
It's also easier to have a great year when there's one safety back there as opposed to two.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You get two safeties back there when they're not afraid of your running game. Right? And right now, people are still afraid of Jahmyr Gibbs in that running game. And
Tyrann Mathieu is going to have to decide whether he's going to stick to the receivers or come up and stop David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. So Tyrann Mathieu's under a lot of pressure today.
And they're in NOLA, a very loud stadium, no matter what the record is.
Absolutely.
Last game, everybody's most anticipated matchup, a rematch for Brock Purdy to redeem himself from last year, getting that injury. I think they're in Philly. The weather is not very good. So I want to hear a little bit of a different sense of what you guys think this game's going to look like. So let's talk about the 49ers defense. They have blown up since they had their bye week. And I'm wondering how they can maintain that energy in Philly with a team that pulls out wins, like I've already said.
Go ahead, Greg.
Greg, kick it off.
Oh, this is the reason why Chase Young was brought to the Niners. This was the sole purpose of getting Chase Young, because they couldn't get to Jalen Hurts last year in the backfield in that playoff game. Chase Young, Nick Bosa, and the former Eagle, Hargreaves, they're all coming for you, Jalen. And it is not going to be a pretty sight, because you got the number one linebacker in the league sitting back there as well. Now, Philadelphia has got to avoid that front seven, and they have to pray that A.J. Brown gets wide open. That's Philadelphia's one opportunity today, is if A.J. Brown can exploit the weaker 49ers secondary.
So we've seen AJ locked up, honestly. The last 2 weeks, I feel like he hasn't been that go-to guy. And I feel like the Niners can figure out how to keep him, under 2-3 targets or whatever has been done the last 2 weeks. So
AJ's not always open as he claims. He's just not.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. You can look at the Eagles in especially the last couple of weeks, and we talked about what with Detroit, what stirs the drink there. Well, the same thing is what's stirring the Eagles' drink offensively in Philadelphia, right? The cast off from Detroit that Detroit didn't want, and they drafted the younger version of him, is the guy that's stirring the drink in Philadelphia. Both the halves, the last 2 weeks in Philadelphia, their running game struggled. Both halves, they trailed. Okay, they come out in the second half. DeAndre Swift gets going. The offense explodes. Okay, once again, the running game is taking the weight off the passing game. Right, when you're able to affect the passer because you're not afraid of the running game, you're controlling it. You can do a lot more damage defensively. But when the team is able to control you on the ground and give you a lot of options that look like the ground is attacking you because you were getting hit there, all of a sudden the passing game opens up. Well, DeAndre Swift, when he gets going, Jalen Hurts gets going. He starts making better throws. He's able to run the RPO throws. A.J. Brown gets single coverage. Devontae Smith gets single coverage. Okay, suddenly things open up in Philadelphia. When they're struggling on the ground, those guys aren't in rhythm. They're able to affect the passer with pass protection. And again, I think Lane Johnson's out this week as well. So
I believe he's out.
Yeah, so with Lane Johnson out once again now, right, you're going to have people with two premier pass rushers coming off that side in the face of Jalen Hurts. So they want to run the football to keep those guys at bay. It's on DeAndre Swift to make that happen early and often. You can't let Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers jump out like you let Dallas do, like you let Buffalo do, and think you're going to be able to pull those kind of comebacks off against this team who's better at running the football than both of those two teams that you beat the last couple of times out.
So do the Niners rely on the run game here? Is CMC going to have a larger game, or do you believe Brock Purdy can split it and air it out as well?
You got to protect Brock Purdy with CMC. You got to get CMC going. You got to make listen, Philadelphia already was worried about him in the playoffs. Okay. Right. But and that game got out of hand because you couldn't throw the football because Purdy was out. And then after that, you were just throwing bodies out there at quarterback. But with McCaffrey out there, with a healthy Deebo Samuel, with a healthy Ayuk, with all of those guys back, Trent Williams back, all those guys back, you need McCaffrey to do what he's done all season long. take the load off, create matchup problems, allow those guys to open up and create plays. And Deebo Samuel is going to be involved in this running game too. Don't think it's just going to be McCaffrey doing all the heavy lifting. They're going to utilize him in every which way they can to make matchup problems for this Eagle defense. The weakness of this Eagle defense is in the safeties and in the linebackers. Okay, they play well when they're on top. But what happens is if you can pick apart those matchups, like Kevin Byard, like I said, it's not Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He doesn't have the same skill set. Teams have been able to pick on those safeties. Teams have been able to match up and get those linebackers in bad situations. The problem is you can't keep going after these corners. Bradbury will give up catches, but he'll make a play. And of course, Darius Slay is Darius Slay. All right, so you got to take care of those interior line matchups and make them pay. McCaffrey can do that, as well as the tight end that we all know and hate in some cases, but most people know and love them. All right. So, all right, that's where you got to take advantage of your matchups. That'll open up Samuel, Ayuk, and the rest of those guys.
How do you attack Darius Slay, though? Because Slay plays off everybody. Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy gets the ball out into Ayuk's hands before Darius Slay can react to him, before he can react to a Deebo Samuel. So that plays into the 49ers' strengths because they believe in yards after the catch. Bottom line. So Darius Slay, as good as he is at playing the off corner position, when you get to press man Darius Slay, you can beat Darius Slay.
Okay. I think this game, after watching whoever wins, it'll tell a lot for how the rest of the season is going to look. And I just think having them in the same division, just everything NFC, it's about to be crazy. I think this game is really going to determine if the Eagles are that team, if they end up losing. And we already know that the Niners are working towards that Super Bowl run back since what happened last year. Okay, we're going to talk about something that's not as fun. It's not as exciting as this matchup. We need to know, and I want to hear from you guys, what will fix the Patriots? How can the Patriots fix this chaotic couple years with Mac Jones and just burn it to the ground? Jeff, you kick it off.
Well, it starts at the top, right? There's one guy in control of everything in New England, and that's Bill Belichick. He's the head coach. He's his own de facto general manager. He makes all the personnel decisions. Well, those personnel decisions ever since a certain quarterback left town have led to a lot of unsuccess, as a friend of mine would say, in New England. Okay, you look at the record the last 3 years plus the start of this year, very unimpressive. He had the 1 year in 2021, they went 10-7 and made the playoffs with Mac Jones. But other than that, 7-9 with a multitude of quarterbacks, including Cam Newton. Then he turned around in 2022 with Mac Jones, 8-9, missed the playoffs. Okay, missing the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years, make that 3 of the last 4 because I don't see them making it this year. But we're starting right now at 2-9 with the additions he made. Right now, Bill Belichick has to do a better job of acquiring talent. This right here says you're not doing that. A progressively worse record shows that you are not doing something right. Well, he doesn't like to bring in high-priced free agents. Well, since that's the case, fine. You're not bringing in top talent. Well, you better do it in the draft. Well, he's bringing in guys in the draft. The quarterback situation hasn't worked out for him. The receiver situation didn't work out for him. N'Keal Harry is one of the highest rated receivers he's drafted. No longer in New England. Okay. Right. You look at the tight end situation. He's brought in guys like Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith and guys like that off the street. Those guys have been decently productive. But what you're looking at is an inconsistent draft process plus a weak free agent process has created mediocre talent, and you don't have anything like what you had when you first got there. The bedrock of his success came off of a defense that was already in place when he became head coach. Willie McGinnis, Teddy Bruschi, and all the guys he had, Ty Law, all those guys were there from his first run with Parcells. Right, so he came in with a lot of Hall of Famers on defense, and he had, of course, he drafted Tom Brady. Okay, so he managed to get the one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in the 6th round, worked out to his advantage. Great job of drafting there. Drafted guys like Gronkowski. Great job of drafting there. Some of those offensive linemen that played well from over the years. Great job of drafting. He's fallen off in that situation. What's going to help you? You're 2-9 right now. You're in the top 5 in the draft. What Bill Belichick can do is, for the first time since you've been head coach, you're going to have a high draft pick in every round. Utilize it. Do not trade out. Do not trade back trying to get more picks. Take advantage of getting a premier talent at the top of the board for once in your career, and that's going to be the first step in building this roster. Okay, if you want to trade back 2 or 3 spots and get picks, that's great. You're still going to, as long as you stay in the top 10, you're going to get a premier talent. But he can't go thinking that he's going to outsmart everybody, falling back, getting all these picks and reloading his team with 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks that may not exactly get the job done. Right? That may have helped when you had Hall of Famers there. It's not going to help you right now. He has to take on a new approach to building this team. You're going to need certain free agents, stud free agents, to help teach these guys and make a difference for you off the market. One of the greatest things that San Francisco did, bring in Christian McCaffrey. Okay, they could have stuck with the guys they had at running back. They brought in a game changer. That's why they're a threat. Okay, you got to do the same thing. A.J. Brown to Philadelphia. That's why they're a threat. He's got to go back to doing that. He made that move with Randy Moss. Why would you not make it since? That's the problem with Bill Belichick. He's not thinking outside the box anymore. He's trying to play small ball, and it's not working.
Okay, so Belichick doesn't get any credit for Brady. Scott Pioli gets the credit for bringing in Brady. Belichick was in the conversations, yes, but Scott Pioli is the guy who took Brady. Let's give Mr. Pioli his due for that.
True indeed. Yes.
Exactly. Bill Belichick, in the last 10 seasons that he has been the draft guru for the Patriots, has 2 Pro Bowl players, a punter and a place kicker. That's it. When you don't have an offensive line, you go nowhere in the NFL. You show me a single guy on that offensive line that you consider to be a good talent. I don't see any. And if you don't have an offensive line to protect your quarterback, I don't care if it's Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, or even Thomas Brady himself. Brady would have been destroyed just as easily as these other guys had been. Because you don't know what you're drafting. And that's where this is become such a mess for the Patriots. He did bring in Judon from another team.
Mm-hmm.
Judon is injured. There goes your defense. When you rely on one guy for your defensive line, your history in this league. So this is where the Patriots have fallen off. Was Belichick was always dealing away first-round picks and all these other picks, et cetera, and he has not drafted properly for today's NFL. And that's why the Patriots are 2-9. It's not about the free agents. Yeah, you should have some decent talent come in as a free agent. And yes, he did spend the year that they went 10-7. Remember, he spent money that year for the first time ever.
On the tight ends, yeah.
On the tight ends, especially. Yeah. But even the defensive line and in the secondary, he spent some money that, right? But when you don't know enough about the draft and you see the failure after failure after failure, you should not be drafting. Bottom line, that's how you fix the Patriots, is you get somebody in there who understands how to draft.
Is it safe to say that we all believe the Patriots should be looking at a new quarterback?
I think you do, because you don't have any confidence in the one you have, right? You don't have any confidence in him. He doesn't have any confidence right now because he's not even QB2 right now. He's behind Malik Cunningham as QB3. So I would say the Mac Jones situation has played itself out. That's soured. You don't believe in him. You're going to move on from him. Bailey Zappi is a good career backup. He's not going to be a starter. Okay, Malik Cunningham hasn't shown he's going to be a starter. I never saw him as a starter anyway. So right now they don't have a starting quarterback. So if you're going to go into the draft, you're in the top 5. There are plenty of guys you can possibly look at to come in for this franchise. But what's also going to happen, you got to have a direction for these guys. Well, right now, Bill Callahan's your coordinator. Do you have Bill Callahan going forward next year?
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien. Yes, Bill O'Brien. Sorry, I'm getting the last names mixed up. The Bills. All right. All right. Bill O'Brien is your coordinator. Do you have him going forward next year? That's a question. All right. To me, if you're going to go fresh, I go fresh with the coordinator too. Not that I don't believe in Bill O'Brien as a coordinator. I think he's a solid coordinator. I want a guy that's going to be prolific. I want a guy that's going to do a great job of mentoring a young quarterback who's going to be able to come in and think of game plans week after week. Like Bill's game plan defensively week after week was unique, and it was unique for each team. I need a coordinator that's going to do the same thing. That's going to find the weaknesses of each team we play and find a way to use the talent that I have to attack those guys. You got decent running game. You got a decent running game. But you need more weapons on the outside, not just the tight ends. This isn't Tom Brady with the dink and dunk, make it happen offense. You have to go out there and manufacture points. So I need playmakers on the outside who are going to make plays with the ball in their hands. So not only am I going to go out there, you want to keep Juju Smith-Schuster. He's a great second receiver. But I need a 1. So if I'm not going to pay for a 1, I'm damn sure going to draft a 1. So
he tried drafting a 1. He took Butte from LSU, who everybody was so high on at one point, except for me.
I wasn't high on him either. No,
exactly. You and I were never big on Keyshawn Butte as coming out of LSU.
Yeah.
Yet everybody else had him skydiving up the boards and all this other nonsense. And again, this is the draft. This is how you build a winning franchise.
Mm-hmm.
It's not free agents are something that you add on to a good team to go over the top.
Yes.
When you do not draft properly, that's why you're where you are. That's the bottom line for me. And Bill Belichick, like I said, a punter and a place kicker are his 2 Pro Bowl players that he's drafted in the last 10 seasons.
Yeah, he struggled with tackles, right? I can't find a tackle. Well, there was a tackle that fell past you that went to Cleveland, right, who was lights out, one of the best tackles at Senior Bowl last year before he shut it down. Okay, fell all the way to the 3rd round of Cleveland. Bill Belichick had a chance to pick him more than once and passed on him. Okay, so now he's over in Cleveland doing a great job on the right side. One of my top tackles in the draft. If you look at my board, DeJuan Jones is right up there in my top 5. Right out, he's up there in my top 5 tackles. Okay, fellow day 3, Cleveland gets him. A godsend in Cleveland. He would be a stud in New England. Once again, you got to trust your board. You got to evaluate properly, and you got to take the guys when they're on the board and stop thinking that you're going to finagle your way into a guy later in the draft. If you sit around and do that, you're going to miss out on a lot of guys, and that's what Bill's done. He's missed out on a lot of guys.
Yep.
Well, I think this draft is going to be an exciting one because there's a lot of teams that need a lot of help, especially in the QB position. And I think fighting for a top spot might be crucial here for the Patriots.
Well, if Bill is still running the draft board and J.J. McCarthy is available, well, he's going to go to the University of Michigan to get his quarterback because he had so much success with that guy from there before. And look out. It's going to be a nightmare yet.
Well, it's funny you say that. Well, on Draft Central starting in January, Bill and I will be breaking down the draft. But this is going to be the last year for teams that need to get right quick in the draft to do it, because it's the last year you're going to have a lot of COVID guys still in the draft. There will be very few, if any, 5th year, extra year, 6-year guys after this draft, because all that COVID year is finally starting to go away and all those guys are now moving on. So this is going to be the last real year. You're going to find steals in 5, 6, and 7 rounds, that guys that should have been gone 3 rounds earlier.
Oh, like Deron Bland for the Cowboys.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, exactly.
I wanted to ask before we go to our rapid fire, did you see that Roger Goodell wants to ban the tush push?
Yeah.
What are you?
Well, I think the problem that you're seeing with it is that only one team is having success with it. So they think that it's something technical that other teams can't mimic. It's because honestly, it's a quarterback sneak, but it's how Philadelphia does it. You have a guy who's it's more of a rugby scrum than it is an actual quarterback sneak. You have a guy on that line that played rugby. He's an experienced rugby player in Jordan Mailata. So it was obviously taught by a guy who played rugby. So there's things in it that you look at it and go, well, if the only one team is benefiting from it, it imbalances the equation, which is why he's doing that. He's talking about doing that. However, but that's part of competitive balance, right? If I'm the only one that can get it right, why am I suffering for the rest of the league? Right? It's like if you're the only team that can figure out how to draft guys on day 3, and they go, well, why should we ban you from doing certain things in the draft when nobody else can get it right? No, everybody else needs to catch up. Well, same thing. Like when Dallas came back with the shotgun and made it work, people brought the shotgun into their offense. They didn't sit there and try to ban the shotgun. Well, same thing with the tush push. Okay, they're the one team that gets it right with the percentage they get it right because, let's face it, they have a guy on that offensive line who played rugby, who understands the rugby scrum better than anybody else, and that's why they're better at it than anybody else.
I think banning plays is outrageous. You're just mad. You're just upset that you're not figuring it out. What about you, Greg? You agree?
I agree. I mean, the Eagles can tush push all they care to. I don't care about this tush push thing. I really don't. You stop the Eagles by putting him in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5.
Exactly.
That's how you stop the tush push. That's the bottom line. If a defense can't do that, then okay, they're going to give up the 2 or 3 yards on every tush push. That's football, and that's the way it is. So no, it shouldn't be banned. And if they do vote to ban it, this is the no fun league. Bottom line, it's just the no fun league.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I saw that.
Instead of getting their officials to understand that the Eagles hold guys. That's how they scored that touchdown against the Chiefs. And there was zero look at that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is the problem with the NFL is the officials. This is
well, you got to get officials that understand the game. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The problem is these guys don't understand the game. You watch them call certain things, and they can't understand what is going on. So the rule of the letter of the law says that's not what's going on. Okay, when you have pass interference, everybody loves to see when they throw it up and it's short, and the receiver comes back through the DB. They go, that's pass interference. Realistically, it's not, because the guy in position is the DB when it's a short throw. So the DB has position. So technically, it's not defensive pass interference.
It's offensive
because he has to go through the DB to get to the football. If the DB is covering a hitch route and I go through the back of the receiver, it's defensive pass interference. Why is it different? Why? Because we just seem to think, because we don't understand the game of football, that plain and simple, the guy with position is the guy who I have to go through to make the play. If I have to go through the DB to get to the football, it's offensive pass interference, not defensive. So you're better off no calling it or calling it the way you should be calling it. Instead, they call it on the defense because they feel the receiver has the right to the ball no matter what, even when he's out of position and the DB's in position. That's not understanding the game of football. I've benefited from it as a coordinator. But as a DB, when I played, I would be pissed if that ball's back here, hit me in the back, and this guy's jumping through me, and you're flagging me for it because the quarterback can't reach his receiver. That's not my fault as a DB. That's the fault of the quarterback. Don't bail them out because this guy can't throw. And that's exactly what the call is. It's a bailout. And there's plenty of them. Right? As a coach, and we've always been
even defensive holding for the 5 yards and the automatic first down thing. That is ridiculous. If you're going to give that to every defense, you better give the same thing to the flipping offensive lines for a false start, which is a 5-yard penalty, and that should not be a first down again. It should be second down or third down. They should lose the down.
Absolutely. We talk about holding. Right? If you ever see the guy and his hands are here and he's grabbing, okay, this is called inside framework of the body. This is allowed. Okay, and this is when we've had head officials come to us before the season. They say inside framework of the body, we're going to allow this grab. When you see this get flagged, okay,
right.
A coach like myself was flipping out of his mind because your head official is the one who lectured us on this is what's legal. So when you see a guy grabbing out here, that's a hold. That's outside framework of the body. Mm-hmm. How many times you see a defensive player on the edge when they're running the ball outside, the guy has his hands here, the defensive player can't get off, he's doing all this trying to get off, and the referee holds on to the flag. Outside framework of the body is a hold. Okay, throw the flag, but it's inconsistently called. Right, that's inconsistency that us coaches can't stand, and that's part of the problem between not knowing situations in football and inconsistency in how you call things. That is part of the problem. The fans are seeing it even more now. The coaches have always seen it. The players have always seen it. But now the fans are seeing it, and it makes it even worse. And then you have to have some former official come on TV and tell you the wrong answer just as well. So it just compounds it. I say you stop putting these knuckleheads in the booth. They don't belong there. Okay, they're not explaining anything but making excuses. And even half the time they're wrong, which tells you there's something wrong with the system. Okay, if you got the guy who's retired, he's done it for 30 years, can't get it right up in the booth, and the guys can't get it right on the field, you need to overhaul your officiating system because it's wrong all the way around. The guys that train these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about. The guys on the field don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it's one big mess that even the fans are frustrated with.
Bingo.
I agree. The consistency, that was the key one-liner there. All right, let's hit our favorite part of the show. Rapid fire. I'm going to start listing off the games, and let's go through who we believe is going to win today. So, Colts and Titans. Yikes.
There's no Jonathan Taylor for the Colts. This is in Tennessee, is it not?
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's no Jonathan Taylor, but there is Zach Moss.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say the Titans pull this out.
Hold on. What was our record last week, Jeff?
I don't have it in front of me right now, so
that's okay. I know Greg was a lone wolf and he pulled them off.
I was 3 out of 4 on my lone wolves.
Hey, that's better than
he might have won a week because of that.
Oh yeah, easily.
I think I did.
Why did we all believe in the Patriots last week and then this week we're like, just forget it, everything's been bad?
Trust me, that was a lose-lose with the Patriots. Nobody knew what the hell was going on there.
Tommy DeVito was at home. That's all that mattered.
I'm going to go with the Colts. I think Gardner.
You're going to go with the Colts.
He'll have 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, but somehow figure it out.
Well, Ashmere, we're going to make Greg lone wolf on this one again. Listen, my partner at Cover 2 Draft is a Titans fan. And guess what? He has no faith in the Titans. And guess what? I don't either. All right, so I'm going to go with the Colts.
All right, Falcons, Jets.
Oh, boy. Where's this game? Because Atlanta's another one you got to worry about, especially on the road.
They're in New York, yeah.
Oh, man. And the Jets are starting they're one step away from starting fireman Ed at quarterback. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go by the skin of my teeth on this one. Don't make asses out of me, Falcons. Please make me right for once with picking you guys because it's been inconsistent. And I would like to at least be able to pick you guys with some confidence.
I'm going Jets.
You're going to go Jets? Okay, you're lone wolf in this one because this is going to be the Kyle Pitts fantasy weekend. The Jets defense gives up stuff to tight ends.
Oh, I'm not feeling good about that, Greg. You said Kyle Pitts in Atlanta because that coach don't use Kyle Pitts because I'm not feeling real good right now.
Yeah,
I just think the Jets defense gets a nice pick six, some type of fumble recovery, leading them something close like that. That defense it can
happen. Yeah, it can happen.
I think
the way
they've
they're
scored
playing.
more
Yeah,
than their offense, right? The defense has scored more touchdowns for them. So,
quite possibly.
yeah.
Well, they only have 10 touchdowns as an offense so
Yeah.
far this season. So
Isn't it amazing that, several weeks back when they played Denver, it was redemption
Right.
for Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett got his revenge on Sean Payton. I'm not a bad coach. His offense has stunk ever since. It stunk before that game. Right? With no Aaron Rodgers to save him, he is a compromised coordinator. Gee, why do I keep saying that? I said that on the college show. I'm saying it again right now. Listen, there's a resume of an accomplished coordinator here in Wesley Chapel who's done it on multiple levels. If y'all want it, let me know. I will send it to you. His name is Jeff Barnes.
Send that, Jeff. All right, Lions and Saints. I'm picking Detroit.
I'm going to go Detroit as well. I'm done trying to have faith in the Saints. I have no faith in that coaching staff. I picked them and they've won. I picked them and they lost. I've picked against them, they won. Well, I hope that I finally pick against them and they lose again, because I'm done with watching this monstrosity of an offense try and compete with better teams. Maybe they step up today and beat Detroit, but right now I'm not picking them to do it.
I agree.
yeah, Detroit's defense has sucked lately. Bottom line, because
Are we going to curse these guys going all in?
they, I'm likely cursing them, but this is the argument I'm having with myself, is because the Lions defense has sucked so bad lately. Had the Saints had a healthy Chris Olave, I might take the Saints.
Yes, I feel like I would have picked the Saints too, but since he's 50.
I'm gonna curse them, and we're gonna say Lions.
Okay.
Well, before we leave that, we were saying, Chris Olave's hurt. Has anybody seen Michael Thomas? Should we put up missing person posters for Michael Thomas?
Oh, easily, yes.
Where's Michael Thomas been? Where is this all-pro wide receiver? He comes back healthy and he's missing. Where's Michael Thomas? Can somebody explain that to me?
Michael Thomas is covered, and he has no ability to get separation anymore, and that's why you don't see him.
Yes, unbelievable.
All right, Broncos, Texans.
Oh man, I really want to pick CJ Stroud, but I'm going to go with the hot hand. I'm going to go with Denver.
Russell's cooking for Jeff. Okay.
I'm going the opposite way, because the Broncos are traveling down. They're not up in their great thin air of Denver anymore. They're playing indoors. I'm taking the Texans.
Me too. Jeff's lone wolfing out here. All right, Chargers, Patriots. This is if the Chargers don't win this, I need to see tomorrow that Brandon Staley's fired. That needs to be red font all over the internet.
Oh no, this is Jeff. This is all on Jeff, because he has stated he would never pick the Chargers.
I know. This is why I'm biting my hand, because I'm about to pick the Chargers, because I can't trust the New England Patriots just as much as I can't trust the Chargers. Yes. But at least one of these teams can score. And guess who that team is? It's the Chargers. So, listen, I'll tell you right now, not only if the Chargers lose this game should they fire Brandon Staley, but we should really stop trying to say Herbert's an elite quarterback, because if you can't beat this Patriot team, you're not an elite quarterback.
With Keenan Allen out there against this secondary, Keenan Allen is about to have over 200 yards again this week. The Chargers are going to win.
Okay, we're unanimous.
Oh, we're jinxing somebody.
Cardinals and Steelers.
All right, so Cardinals, Steelers. I'm going to go Pittsburgh. Listen, it is not pretty right now in Pittsburgh, but they're finding ways to win. Arizona, it's not pretty, and they're finding ways to lose. Somehow they pull it out every once in a while. But right now, I'm going to trust the team that it ain't pretty, but it's winning, and it's Pittsburgh.
Yikes.
Yikes,
you know what?
For real.
James Conner might have enough in him. Kyler Murray needs to escape Highsmith and Watt.
Yeah, I think that's the dangerous part. This Steelers.
I'm going to say the Cardinals take this game.
Okay, you're lone wolfing because I'm
Yeah,
picking the Steelers.
I forecasted that one.
There's just something about Kenny Pickett that I can't stand, and I'm sorry.
It's a lot of things. I think last week you mentioned George Pickens was gonna have a bigger game. I think this is the one that he gets.
But that Cardinals secondary has shut wide receivers down pretty well.
Yeah.
And that just, I don't know.
All right, you're lone wolfing. Dolphins and Commanders.
Give me Miami.
I'm supposed to be here for Joe, right?
So you're a Commander.
I can't do that. Yeah, it's going to be the Dolphins.
Okay, we're unanimous. We're really on this trend right now.
Yeah,
Panthers
we're gonna
and Bucks.
Tampa Bay. Give me Tampa Bay. I think Carol, it is a tough division matchup. These teams play each other tough. It can go other way, but I think Tampa Bay right now knows they have to win this or else.
Yes.
And the backs to the wall gets it done this time around.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bucks too.
We're all in on the Bucks.
49ers and Eagles.
Unlike what Jeff said earlier this year about Bryce Young and the younger offensive line and all that jazz coming together, it hasn't happened. So
no, which is why they fired the head coach
and after
a few other people.
All of the headlines for this week, I don't know if Bryce is feeling very steady in his position, right? I mean, you're just covering the news and not being talked about in a great way. So
yeah, I think he's a rookie, so there's going to be he's not in danger. So I think he's fine. You know, he's not going the way you wanted to go. You're watching Stroud have his success. You were watching Richardson have his success.
Right.
And you're wondering why it hasn't happened for me. Well, they just said, well, it's these guys. It's not you. So you're fine. If they were looking at him going, we got to find the answer at quarterback, he would be a little more unsteady. But I think right now the owner is even saying it's not you, it's them. So he's feeling fine about that. Now he's just waiting to see who the next them is.
Yeah.
All right, Niners and Eagles. The rematch.
I am representing Joe Cardozo today, so I am all in on the 49ers destroying the Philadelphia Eagles, and I mean destruction. I'm not talking about a simple little victory. The Niners defense comes after the Eagles offense. Lane Johnson is out. Jalen Hurts is going to be in a lot of trouble dealing with Chase Young, Bosa, Hargreaves up the middle. Fred Warner is the best linebacker in football. The Eagles don't have good linebacking. I've got the Niners destroying the Eagles.
Well, in the NFL, when you're 10-1 or if you're 1-10, a lot of the things remain the same. When you're 10-1, the more wins you get, the closer you are to losing. When you're losing all the losses in a row, you're one step closer to winning. Well, this is where the Eagles dropped that second one. I believe San Francisco is reloaded. They're back.
My God, we cannot be unanimous on this game.
Listen, I believe San Francisco is reloaded. They're at the point where they can finally get to Philadelphia. Does this match up and go the same way in the playoffs? Maybe, maybe not. But this time, this week, right now, this is the perfect opportunity for San Francisco to get at them, right? The Eagles have struggled in first halves. This is a team that could build a lead on you, and it grows. They don't hold off. They don't let off the gas. They don't have peaks and valleys. San Francisco, when they pounce on you, they are bully ball. They stay on you, and they pound you into submission. The Eagles may come back, make a run at it, but I think San Francisco has enough to hold them off. I'm going to take San Francisco.
Oh, my God. Okay, we have to all go on Instagram Live tomorrow if this happens, okay? Because then we broke.
I would if I was on Insta Chat or Snappagram. So
I'll do it for all of us, okay?
Yes, you'll have to partake in that. You'll have to partake in that.
All right, Browns and the Rams. Not as exciting.
Yeah, well, a few weeks ago,
you have two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in this game.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I would have felt real great about picking Cleveland, but since then, they found every which way to lose. And you turn around with the Rams, they're the same way. They've found every which way to lose. Which team do you pick? I want to feel great about Cleveland's defense. I don't feel great about their offense right now. They don't. Now Joe Flacco is going to start for them. How'd that work out for the Jets? I'm really tempted to go with the Rams. That hasn't exactly worked out great for me either. So I'm going to stick with Browns on this one.
I am taking Kyron Williams from Notre Dame to have a huge running game against the Browns defense. I don't care how good the defense has been. Kyron Williams has been phenomenal for the Rams, and Stafford has too many weapons.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the Rams too.
Yeah. So, Jeff, you're lone wolfing on the Browns.
Yeah, I got no choice. Neither one of these are sexy picks for me at all.
No, it's not you. It's the matchups. All right, our night game. We've got Chiefs and Packers. I think we can all answer that easily. The Chiefs.
Well,
okay.
Green Bay, last time in the spotlight, Thanksgiving Day.
Yes, they did.
Took out Detroit. They're not dead in the water like a lot of people believe. This still is a tough team. They don't make enough plays at times. Kansas City is a tough team that doesn't make enough plays at times. This is going to be a closer game than people give it credit for. Don't be surprised if Green Bay pulls off the upset in this one. I'm going to lean Kansas City, but I am not standing on both feet on that one. I'm holding on to that ledge with a toe and a finger because
I agree.
They have been very shaky this season. They're not scoring points consistently like they did in the past, and that's a problem.
This is the opposite of the Lombardi versus Hank Stram era of the NFL. The Lombardi now resides in Kansas City. The Hank Stram resides in Green Bay and Matt LaFleur. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say Kansas City, but it's not gonna be a blowout.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the Packers just for fun.
There you go.
I would rather see them win rather than the Chiefs win. So.
Fair enough.
All right, perfect. Our last game, Bengals and Jaguars. Monday night.
Oh, give me the Jags. I'm right now. I think Cincinnati's compromised. We've seen that. Joe Burrow's missing. These receivers aren't playing the same without Burrow. They don't have Jake Browning just doesn't have the anticipation of a Joe Burrow. He doesn't have the ability to extend the plays the way Joe Burrow. Everybody says he can move. Yes, he can move. But Joe Burrow knows how to keep his eyes downfield and anticipate receivers breaking a certain way. Browning doesn't have that. He has to wait to see it before he throws it. So therefore, it's not as effective when he does it. He winds up scrambling a lot more or holding the ball and getting hit. So I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think, right, like I said, that guy in the backfield, he was my RB1 in the draft when he was there, Travis Etienne. People said, oh, no, he's not. He has been exactly that. He's been a stud running the football, catching the ball out of the backfield. You got a quarterback that knows how to use them. You got a coach that knows how to use them. Travis, they played together in college, so it makes it even better for the quarterback running back situation. But in the end of the day, they know how to use him. He makes things better on the quarterback and the receivers and the coordinator, and it's making things better for this team. Plus, the other Josh Allen is playing lights out defensively. So give me the Jaguars.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cincinnati is too banged up on their offense and their defense. Give me the Jags.
Okay, we're unanimous. But this one makes the most sense, I think. It's the most logical unanimous decision.
That hasn't helped before. We all picked the Eagles to beat the Jets. It made sense. It didn't. Happen.
You're right. You're so right.
I was so close to picking the Jets that day. Remember?
Oh my God! If you did, we would have to have your face posted for the whole season as the champion.
But that's because I'm an anti-Eagles guy.
Yes,
obviously. But yeah,
we don't need logic in all of these answers. Okay, it's just like what you feel in your gut, and you were almost
exactly. So, who's got the Thursday night game?
Let's see. We've got Patriots Steelers.
I couldn't flex that one.
I don't
Yeah.
think anyone's gonna watch that. Yeah.
Can you imagine Al Michaels on this call? I mean, he's going to go ballistic. He's going to go off. Yeah.
Well, he's had some bad matchups at a bad booth when he was with Dennis Miller. So think about that. So
Yeah. Working with Dennis Miller, that's just bizarre. But I'll have to say the Steelers in that one.
Okay, we're future picking.
Yeah, well, if we're going to talk about that one, listen, Kenny Pickett better be the dude that night because they're not going to be able to just run the ball in New
Today
England
will
and win.
determine the Thursday, I think, just based off of how good he does.
Well, the Steelers will be angry after losing to Arizona.
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
Or happy that they're on a roll.
Or happy that they're on a roll,
Yeah. Look to keep it rolling.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we have had an exciting hour. I think we've talked about so many great things for all of these games. Thank you for everyone who has tuned in. Enjoy your Sundays. We've got 40 minutes till kickoff, so grab your snacks, get your life together, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to like and subscribe on Team NBS Media on all social platforms.